People in this list claim that they have been attacked by a UFO. Some of the evidence relating to the cases are quite compelling. Make sure you stay until the end to answer the question. Welcome to 5 compelling cases of UFO attacks. Number 5. Maury Island Incident. This incident occurred on June 21st, 1947. Fred Chrisman and Harold Dahl were just 2 of the harbour patrolmen who witnessed this event. They claimed while sailing near Maury Island, they saw 6 donut-shaped objects in the sky. One of the objects began to lose momentum. Then, before the object flew away with the others, it dropped a lava, liquid metal type substance on the boat. They claim it broke one of the workers' arms and also killed a dog that they had on board. Harold managed to obtain some of the material that fell onto the boat. They reported the incident to authorities and claimed shortly after men dressed all in black, otherwise known as the Men in Black, approached them and told them not to mention the incident to anyone. Authorities took the material of Harold and sent it off for examination. 2 Air Force officers by the name of Captain Davidson and Lieutenant Brown loaded their B-25 aircraft with the material. They then began to fly to Fort Hamilton in New York City for analysis. Shortly after takeoff, the plane mysteriously crashed and both of the pilots died. The military immediately went to the crash site and it's believed that they took the material. The FBI allegedly told them that if they didn't report the sighting as a hoax, then they will be charged with fraud and they'll have to serve jail time, as 2 officers died due to the case. It's believed that the plane was brought down on purpose so that the material would never be analysed. An article concerning this was published in the Tacoma Times by a journalist called Paul Lance. Shortly after the article was published, Paul was found dead. His cause of death couldn't be determined even after an extensive 36-hour autopsy. Shortly after this happened, Harold Dahl was flying somewhere and the airplane crashed and he was badly injured and just about survived it. Harold then came to the conclusion that he made up the entire event and that it was a hoax. Although he said this, many people believe he was forced to say it by the FBI and the Men in Black as he feared for his safety. Number 4. Mantell UFO Incident. This incident is one of the most publicized early UFO reports. On January 7th, 1948, 25-year-old Kentucky Air National Guard pilot Captain Thomas F. Mantell was in pursuit of a UFO. His plane then crashed, resulting in his death. On the day, many witnesses claimed that they could see a cone-shaped object in the sky. It was described as a bright white object at least 300 feet in diameter. This got the attention of the military, so they looked into it and they could also see the object in the sky. At about 2:50 p.m, Captain Mantell was leading a squadron of 4 F-51 Mustangs to an airfield in Kentucky. The captain was then told to approach the object to find out what it was. As the planes began to climb in altitude, their fuel began to drop, so 4 of the planes turned back and Mantell continued on alone. It's believed that Mantell ran out of oxygen and collapsed, and his plane then began to descend towards the ground and eventually crashed, killing him. His plane had broke apart just before it hit the ground, which make people believe that his plane was attacked by the UFO, because why else would the plane break apart? When they found the wreckage, the captain's seatbelt was shredded and his wristwatch randomly stopped at 3:18 p.m. By 3:50 p.m, the UFO is no longer visible in the sky. There have been other rumours that the captain was found with tiny holes in his body and the crash site was radioactive, but there has been no real evidence to back the rumours. Witnesses that saw the crash say that they saw the captain's plane circle in the air 3 times, then descend and explode just before it was about to hit the ground. Many that saw it say that they believe his plane was shot down by the UFO. Historian David Jacobs argues that this case marked a shift in both public and governmental perceptions of UFOs. Many believe that his plane was shot down by the UFO, but others blame the event on a military weather balloon. Number 3. Robert Taylor Incident. Also known as the Livingston Incident, this occurred on November 9th, 1979 in Livingston, Scotland, to a man called Robert Taylor. While taking his dog for a walk in a forest, he claims he saw what he described as a flying dome. He said it was hovering just above the ground at a clearing. He described it as a dark metallic material with a rough texture like sandpaper, which had an outer rim with a small set of propellers. He claimed as he got closer to the craft, he began to smell a foul odour which smelled like burning rubber. He then claims that a smaller set of crafts then paralysed him and started to drag him in the direction of the larger craft. He then said he lost consciousness. When he came to later, he said that the crafts were gone. He had drove to the forest, so went to his truck that was close by. He said that his truck wouldn't start up, so he walked home. His wife reports that he returned with muddy and torn clothes. His wife reported it to the police and called in a doctor to examine him. The doctor treated him for minor grazes. Police then accompanied Robert to the site where he claimed the incident happened, and they found ladder-shaped marks in the ground where the craft was alleged to be. Police recorded the matter as criminal assault. It is the only time a UFO sighting has been subject to a criminal investigation. People believe that he may have actually been attacked by a UFO, but others blame the event on some sort of health issue that caused hallucinations. Number 2. Val Johnson Incident. Val Johnson was a sheriff in Marshall County, Minnesota. It's believed that he was attacked by a UFO in 1979. On August 27, 1979, at 2 a.m., he was in his patrol car when he saw a bright beam of light just above the road. He decided to investigate, so drove towards the light. As he got closer, he claims that his patrol car was engulfed in light and he heard a loud vibrating sound. He then went unconscious. He came to about 40 minutes later. He claimed that the time on his wristwatch and the clock in his patrol car had randomly stopped on a time during the start of the attack, much like what happened in case number 4. He called the incident in and paramedics and backup arrived. His car was examined and his windscreen had been shattered and the roof was dented. Also, the headlights didn't work and neither did the police siren lights. Val was injured and was partially blind. Doctors examined him and found he had burns caused by extreme exposure to UV light and had burns that were similar to welder burns. Many believe that this case is quite strong in proving a UFO attack, but others believe it was a hoax entirely and Val had damaged his patrol car and himself in order to make it believable. Number 1. Brazil UFO Invasion 1977. Otherwise known as Operation Saucer and Brazil's Roswell, this event occurred in 1977. In August 1977, residents of an area of Brazil called Colares allegedly became the victims of a widespread UFO invasion that went on for 3 months. In August 1977, many citizens started reporting sightings of UFOs. They claimed they saw bright lights in the sky. However, this was no ordinary claim. They claimed that the lights would only appear for a few minutes, sometimes even seconds, and would flash a large beam which would hit people and injure them. These occurrences started happening daily. It got the attention of the Brazilian military, which started an operation called Operation Saucer. They investigated the victims of the beams and found out that over 35 people had been hospitalized and 2 men had died. The doctors that treated the people who claimed they were hit by the beam said that they suffered from hypothermia, superficial chronic headache, burnings, intense heat, nausea, tremors in the body, and giddiness. The doctors also said that they had several small puncture wounds on their body where they claimed the beam had hit them. On November 26th, the military had a very busy night, as while they were investigating, they saw 9 different sightings. They managed to capture some pictures of the crafts and the beams which are believed to be the UFOs. Operation Saucer holds 2,000 pages of information, 500 photographs, and 16 hours of film of the crafts. Some people believe that the UFOs were trying to make contact and were coming from an underwater base close to Colares. There had been many different crafts that had been seen. Some had been described as saucers and others had been described as cigar-shaped. In the official military report, there is a quote that claims that there were crafts in the sky which had luminous bodies. Thank you so much for watching. Do you think aliens exist? And if so, do you think they've already made contact? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to keep updated with our videos. Goodbye.